morning, everyone. It's about 7 a.m. and I am here in Caryville, Tennessee, staying at the Red Roof Inn. There's really beautiful views this morning. Check it out. So I wasn't able to film the state line last night because Waze took me on a detour. It was a beautiful detour, but never saw a sign for the state line. There was a police checkpoint at some point, so I'm wondering if that's where it was. But anyways, I missed the state line and just all of a sudden was in Tennessee. Today I'm going to head straight to Cincinnati. There's not going to be a lot of time for stopping because I'm actually meeting my whole team from work. If you remember, my friend Emily was in another one of our videos when she came down to visit at Disney. Well, most of my team is based out of Cincinnati, so I'm going to meet them for lunch, and then I'm going to explore the city today. So I'm really excited, so let's pack up the Mickey Cooper and hit the road. Hey, we just crossed into Kentucky. Wow, it's really foggy up ahead in Kentucky. This is eerie. In my first view of Ohio and Cincinnati, or just across the river over there, we're going to be crossing the border in about 3 miles. Well, I finally made it to Ohio. I've actually been here for about an hour and a half because I made it just in time for lunch with my team from work. I met my boss in person for the first time and several colleagues for the first time, and then I hung out with Emily, who you might remember from the Joey Fatone video. She was there for lunch as well. I didn't want to film the lunch because that would have been kind of rude, but I want to show you where we ate because it was amazing. It was this place called Inline Public House, and from the balcony there, you get amazing views of the city. Now that lunch with my work friends is over, it's time to explore Cincinnati, and our first stop is the American Sign Museum. Now, driving up, this is literally in like a warehouse district, an industrial district. I was a little worried I was lost, but nope, here we are. And as you can see, their marquee is actually an old Holiday Inn sign, and then over here we have a classic Arby's sign, and there's all kinds of signage on the building next door. Wow, this place is cool. They even have this giant pig in the parking lot. Let's head on into the sign museum. And you can see all of the signs outside marking the entrance and the big genie welcoming us in. Wow. Here at the entrance to the museum, we can already see some really cool vintage neon signs. Let's head this way to the right and see what we have over here. Okay, in this room, wow, this is amazing. Look at that giant sphere. I assume it was on top of a building or something. These signs are so cool. So this sign was for the satellite Shopland in Anaheim, California, by Disneyland, and they actually took it down as part of the Clean Up Anaheim project to clean up the area around Disneyland. But wow, this is really cool. And it's cool that we found kind of a Disneyland artifact here in the Cincinnati Sign Museum. This sign here is from Kona Lane's Bowling, and that was also in California. This section here is kind of the plastic molded signs. We have the old gas station signs, like the old Shell and Gulf signs. I remember those. KFC sign, second time seeing the Colonel in 2 days. And then a classic Greyhound sign up here. And then check out this Gulf one that's kind of, looks like it's a mix between neon and plastic molding at the bottom. This next room's kind of like a vintage gas station area. cool drugstore facade. This reminds me of the Confrontation queue. If you remember Universal Studios before The Mummy Returns, Confrontation, they had a whole New York facade in the queue, and it was very much like this. Oh, and that's a vintage Mcdonald sign. That is so cool. You can see it's definitely worn, but that is neat. Over 99 billion sold. We've passed that. It's like in this room they actually work to restore old signs, which is really cool. And that's probably why we're able to have the sign museum. This room has a movie playing. You can learn about their signs, and then they have a bunch of cool signs on the wall. There's an old Kroger sign, old Chevy dealership sign, Provident Bank. I like that Pizza King sign. Let's get closer to that. That's cool. That is a cool sign, the Pizza King sign. And then next to it, the Wizard of Records, tapes, and CDs. Now we're in the area that's kind of next to the McDonald's sign. You see they have a classic barbershop sign in that downtown facade. The Acapulco Mexican food sign is really cool. Another pizza sign. And then check out this Howard Johnson sign. This is amazing. And this is back from when Howard Johnson's was a restaurant, not just hotels. And it's so cool. And it's so cool to be close to these too, because you'd never be close to them. They'd be up, like way up high. Classic Zenith radio and television repair sign. Yeah, I'm really enjoying the sign museum. It's so cool. I hope it's turning out on video as well as in person, because it's really cool to see all these cool neon signs up close. You can hear the clicking and just the noise of the humming of the signs. It's really cool. Oh, if we look at the other side of the McDonald's sign, it's pretty cool. There's parts of it lit up that the other side weren't. The burgers were only 15 cents when this sign was in use. That's pretty cool. This area has some of the more classic non-electrical signs. A couple for Willie Nelson there. There's one for Dolly. And then here is the classic Big Boy. How iconic. Is Dr. Evil in there? Regal Boots. This one's really noisy. You can really hear those lights blinking. Well, that's it for the sign museum. We have a new guest host, the Big Boy. But anyways, this place is awesome. It's definitely worth a stop if you're in Cincinnati. It only cost me like $10 to come here, and it's very Instagram worthy if you want to come take lots of cool pictures for Instagram. And like I said, it just has that nostalgia feeling. Like for me, it brought back nostalgia from Confrontation. I'm sure that's not what everyone's feeling here, but it certainly brings back nostalgia for a simpler time when hamburgers were only 15 cents and we had all these cool neon signs. Now we're going to go check out another museum in Cincinnati. I never noticed that the Big Boy had a slingshot in his backpack. He's certainly a mischievous little scamp. And then here's the postcards, and Lori Brannon, your song was the one that played right after I crossed the Ohio border. Shouted Out by Kiss played. So I'm gonna send you one of these postcards. I'm not gonna show you which one though, you gotta check the mail. As we head back to the Mickey Cooper, you can see the marquee says, "Thanks for visiting." All right, let's head in and go to our next stop. All right, so now we're at the Cincinnati Museum Center. It's the location of the Justice League, or it's what the Hall of Justice was modeled after, and you can really see it here. Check this out, it is really cool. It is Union Terminal in Cincinnati, home of the Cincinnati Museum Center. This building is so neat. I feel like we're on the pages of a comic book right now, and like Superman's just gonna swoop down from the sky or something. It's just, the architecture of this building is unbelievable. I love it. And here inside the Union Terminal building, the first thing I notice is that font that reminds me of the Daily Planet. Just look at the awesome mural on the wall, and then up here, the dome. And it still is a functioning train station. You can go right that way and catch your Amtrak train. Now I bought tickets for a special exhibit that I'm going to show you guys. I think it's going to be really cool, and it's like Orlando followed us to Cincinnati to give you a hint. But for now, we're going to check out the regular museum. It's a natural history museum, so we're going to see dinosaur bones and the normal museum stuff. Oh, this is cool. In this window, you can see where their paleontologists actually work on real dinosaur fossils. And look over there, there's a Triceratops they're working on right there. That is really neat. Oh, and it's cool, the sign tells what's going on. So center stage, the Triceratops skull is being removed from its field jackets, what they're calling it, or how it was preserved. And then front and center, we have a prepared Barosaurus vertebrate that they prepared for display. And then they also have microfossils in their viewing area over there, where they're trying to look at microfossils right there. I've been to several museums this year, including the Smithsonian, and I haven't seen where the actual paleontologists work. So this is a really cool treat. Make sure to come down here if you're at the Cincinnati Museum. It's all the way at the back of the dinosaur exhibit. Seen where the paleontologists work on the fossils for the dinos, but this is where they make the dinos, the genetics lab. And I'm sure they're not really making dinos there, but that would be cool. This is Ipu. He's a rhinoceros that was actually from the Cincinnati Zoo. He was involved in, I guess, the first live rhinoceros birth in a zoo, and they've recently sequenced his DNA in that lab where I thought they were making dinosaurs, because it's a good genome to help these endangered species. And this is actually his skin and bones, which is kind of creepy that we're looking at the corpse of a rhinoceros from the zoo, but there's Ipu. This is Ipu right here, the Sumatran rhino that they sequenced his genes. So that was him when he was alive. And now he's there. Check out this display. This is pretty cool. 18,000 BCE, the Ohio River Valley. Okay, let's check out the Ice Age. Looks like we're going into a glacier. And here's a giant mastodon fossilized. That's really cool. I remember actually where I grew up in York, Ohio, they found a mastodon at a golf course and they displayed it in the mall for quite some time. This one was found in Fulton County, Indiana. We have to exit through another glacial tunnel. here in the middle of the tunnel, there's kind of this waterfall. There's an extensive tunnel network in this museum. Let's keep going. It looks like we're exiting the tunnel into a forest. Now again, I've been to some of the major museums in America this year, including the Smithsonian. I do like how this one has this tunnel display set up with their dioramas, so it's not just dioramas of animals everywhere. It's kind of more themed, and you can see even the water from that waterfall over there actually runs here into the ground, like kind of throughout the exhibit. So that's a cool touch. And this diorama here looks like it's a hawk, and then we have some wolves. But oh crap! There's a wolf right there. I need to be careful. That one's definitely on the hunt. This water feature is just going all through the exhibit, and over here next we have a diorama with otters and an actual water. I'm sorry, these are beavers. Beavers. Bucky would be mad. Sorry, Bucky. It's beavers. And then here we have a nursing cow. And then more beavers. With a moose. Saber-toothed cats, and look at the saber-toothed kittens. Aren't you a cute little saber-toothed kitten? And look, it looks like the brother is about to smack the sister's face or something. They're definitely about to have a saber-toothed kitten fight. Again, just the realism of these dioramas, I am loving it. This is my favorite part of the museum so far. You see these flat-headed pikaris is what they're called. And look, there's one rolling in the mud. And again, it's actually wet. This is crazy. And then here's an American buffalo. And here we have a giant sloth, which was John Leguizamo's character in Ice Age. And I saw a giant sloth skeleton at the Smithsonian. It was creepy. It's cool to see one that actually has the skin on it. This is cool. I know it's not real, but it's still neat to see what they look like. Look at this guy. He's big. Now, this room is kind of the transition between the Ice Age and space, and for some reason, the way you would transition from the Ice Age to space is a polar bear. A space polar bear. This cap is actually the cap that Neil Armstrong wore on the moon that had his communication technology in it, and it was called the Snoopy Cap because it looked like a cap that Snoopy had worn in the cartoons. So here's the Snoopy Cap. That is a pretty neat artifact. This is a replica of Neil Armstrong's spacesuit that he wore on the moon. But over here, we have his actual flight jacket that went on the Apollo 11 mission. Pretty neat. That's really about it for their space exhibits, but I mean, we have the Kennedy Space Center at home, so I'm gonna move on to the next thing. So next, we're gonna check out an exhibit on the Science of Pixar. I didn't know this was here when I planned my trip, but this is awesome.
At Pixar, on any given day, we're working on various stages of many films.
I'll miss each and every one of you. See, I'm crying. Boo-hoo.
That intro video was cool. It walked us through the process of creating Pixar films, and I'm really curious to see what this exhibit is. I can't believe I found Disney in Ohio. That's awesome. This exhibit's already really cool. Check this out. This is a Buzz Lightyear model that they used to model for the movie. Hey, a Buzz. And then here's a life-size Buzz Lightyear. They're talking about how they rig the motion in the Pixar characters, how they use digital models to basically have the joints and things that are going to move. And then they're showing all the motion from Monsters University. Here is a giant size Mike Wazowski and Sully. I feel like I'm home. I feel like I drove for 2 days and I'm back home. This is awesome. Here they're kind of showing how Sully walks, and you can see all the joints inside that they use to make that movement happen. And here it looks like we have some interactive exhibits. This is the arm moving workstation, showing how Elastigirl's arm is rigged. And then here with the interactive display, you can select the different ways her arm's rigged and see the different movement when you hit test rig. It'll show the different ways her arm moves. Let's go super stretchy. And they're super stretchy. So that's cool. It shows the different points of motion underneath the Pixar animation. This one's the face rigging station, and we get to rig Jessie's face. Jessie doesn't look happy right now. Probably because people are rigging her face all the time. Okay, we're gonna do her inside eyebrow. Say, hey, how's it going? Middle eyebrow. Outside eyebrow. And then this is the upper eyelid. Oh, that's weird. See, we're doing all these right here. Oh, now she's winking. Let's make her wink. And then the lower eyelid's over here. Oh, and there you can turn her eyes. Change to the right and left eye. So let's change the left eye now. Let's try to make her look a little happier. Oh, oh. That is really cool. They let you like manipulate Jessie like that. That's awesome. And here we have this physical recreation of a virtual set, so we can see how Pixar uses their camera placement, because they actually in their programs have cameras. So this is an actual real set where there's, looks like people threw pencils and stuff down there, where you can select the different cameras and you can move the camera up and down to kind of see what the Pixar animators do on the computers. I'm loving this exhibit. It's showing animations where I can actually kind of understand what Pixar does, and it's just really cool that it's a Disney thing here too. Let's keep going. I'm geeking out. This is awesome. Okay, here we go. Here's WALL-E. This is awesome. Oh my gosh, look at this WALL-E. He's so detailed. Actually here so they can show us how they focus their cameras, how you can change it's showing how they can focus on either the Rubik's Cube or WALL-E. Wow, and this is an example of stop motion animation using Luxo Jr., which is also amazing. You can move him around and take individual pictures to make a stop motion movie. So let's do that. Let's make a stop motion movie. Start him here, and I'm gonna hit start over first, and then I'm gonna take a photo, and it's saving my image, and then we're gonna move him a little bit. We're gonna make him jump, and I'm gonna move his head down a little bit, or his bulb down. So that's the next position. We're gonna take a photo. Okay. And now let's move him some more over here. And we're gonna move him down some more too. And again, we're gonna go ahead and take a photo. And then let's move him back. Move his head down. Whoa, okay, he's gonna kind of flop there, but let's see how it goes. Take a photo. Now let's move him again. He's almost ready to land. There we go. Taking the photo. And then we're gonna make him go to the end position. And I'm having him end like that. Okay, let's take the photo. And now it's gonna play my movie. Watch it again. Watch him go. So I just stop motion animated. I had and did one of him going the other way, so let's see how that one turned out. That is really neat. This display is about the emotions of the characters in Pixar and how they pull off emotion. And you can see, again, at the moment, as soon as I saw her, I could tell she was judging my fashion choices for today. She is not happy with what I'm wearing. Here they're showing how they use rotated shapes to make three-dimensional objects. So an example would be if we take this circle right here and we rotate it digitally, it'll make Jack Jack's toy. And here we go, this one I think is going to make a cone. So they just take these, just spin it around and digitally make it, yep, into a cone. So neat how they use something so simple to make something so complex. And there's the Pixar ball. Here's some more of the models they used. Here's Anger, Colette, Carl, and then Mom. Here we have this cone. I'm sure you know what I'm going to make. But that's what how they would finish the model. I'm geeking out over this too much. Let's do one more. This one, again, it's pretty obvious what it's going to be. But let's wrap it. Cheese. Okay, let's change it. Now it's a watermelon. That's really cool how they wrap the 3D models. Oh, this is amazing. This is a Brave wall tapestry. This is so cool. We don't have anything like this at Magic Kingdom. That's awesome. Merida is its own attraction. Let's petition for a Merida dark ride. If you want a Merida dark ride, comment below. That's Disney. Time for a Merida dark ride. That's such a cool tapestry. This room basically shows the whole process. So we start with story art here. Then we go over to where they make the model based off of the story art. And then they rig it, which is what we showed with where the joints and everything are. And they put the surfaces on, which is where we wrap the thing, or we wrap the cone and the Wally. And then we go over where we saw the sits and cameras. That's where they actually start putting the movie together. Then they animate the movie, simulate their animation. Then they're going to they're going to apply lighting. And then they're going to render the finished product. So that is the Pixar product right there. It's the circle of Pixar. And so here we're going to test out the simulations. So right now it's simulating water. Let's simulate the cloth now. And now we're doing a hair simulation. Potion. Each curl of her hair is a spring, which makes sense. Wow, that's so cool. Alright, at this station, they have a simulation of Carl's living room, and we're going to learn about lighting. So let's check this out. So you see these controls here? We can control the position of the sun, the color of the sun, and the brightness, and then we can control his lights. So let's position the sun first. Oh, check it out. You can actually make the phases of the sun. Now let's change the sunlight color. Now let's change the brightness. And then here we can turn his lamp on and his overhead lights. That's really neat. And then here we have Dory, also part of the lighting exhibit. And explore the lighting and color lighting with Dory. So let's change Dory's lighting. Let's make it red. We can make it brighter. Yellow. Green. Oh, that's neat. This is going to show how they render the movies. And you see how long it takes. I mean, it's taken a while for us, but it's saying it took them 48 hours to get that far. Wow. Well, that's it for the Science of Pixar exhibit. It's definitely worth checking out. I'm normally not really into interactive museum exhibits like this, but this was so cool. You got to learn how Pixar does their animation. You got to try things out. This is a traveling exhibit, so if it comes to your town, be sure to go check it out. It's definitely worth it. This is part of their children's museum. I'm not going to show much of it because I don't want to show people's children on camera, but it totally has vibes of like the ETQ, the indoor forest facade. That is really cool. If I was a kid, I would definitely be hanging out here. Look, they can crawl through that little tunnel. And then here is a Lego model of Union Terminal. That's neat. And then this portion of the museum is actually exploring the history of Jewish Cincinnati. And this part's really cool. Each of these trunks was used by a family after the Holocaust for a new start in Cincinnati. Most of them arrived through this very station, Union Station. Wow. It's just, that's amazing. It's amazing they were able to make it out and make it here. And those are their trunks. Here's some of the products that originated in Cincinnati. Frank's Red Hots, Cincinnati original. Big Boy is a Cincinnati original. Check this out. This is a giant model of downtown Cincinnati. Giant train set. This is really neat. You can see the little trolley car there. We have a military supply train over there. Wow. And this thing is massive. It's this entire massive room is this model. Kind of get eye level with the street. Down there, that's so cool. There we go. Here's a scale model of Union Terminal. This is what it looked like back in its heyday when Superman and the Justice League were frequenting it. This thing is massive. And here's the stadium. Here's the factory district. They even have an incline railway. Little guy's hanging out by the model of the Cincinnati Zoo. It's got its own little trolley going around. And here's all the guys working. Let's look at them going about their day loading their barrels. It says in its heyday, Union Terminal serviced more than 200 trains a day. It took an army of conductors and porters and clerks to run Union Terminal. And here's some things from the original Union Terminal. Even a porter's jacket, some lights, sign. There's a 1951 Crossley station wagon. And here's an old streetcar, and we can actually go inside of it, so let's check that out. So this is what it would have been like to be riding in an old streetcar. They even have kind of a graphic on the side to simulate things. Oh, it looks like it's actually gonna go. So let's take a ride on the streetcar. Well, that's it for the Cincinnati Museum Center. That was really cool. I've been to a lot of museums all over. This one's different because it's actually in a historic building, and it shows us the history of that building and then the history of Cincinnati, and then of course your standard dinosaurs and traveling exhibits and everything. And what about that Pixar exhibit? That was so cool to drive all the way to Ohio and find Disney. Now our next stop is a grocery store, but don't worry, it's a special grocery store. It's actually one of the things I've been looking forward to most on this trip. So let's go check it out.